Ever since Donald Trump became president, tariffs have jumped right back into the economic spotlight.
We say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary.
The Donald Trump administration in the United States of America has overnight announced a massive escalation in tariffs imposed on Chinese.
President Trump's reciprocal tariffs on imports from foreign countries include a 34% tax on goods from China, a 20% tariff on imports from European countries.
President announcing the sweeping new tariffs within the past hour.
This tariff.
Recently, he raised tariffs on Chinese imports up to 125%, while posing new tariffs on the rest of the world. So for the next 90 days, there's a freeze. No new tariffs will be added except for China.
If you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America.
Still, the base 10% tariff applies to everything entering the US, and Trump has made it clear, if you're not playing by his rules, you're paying up. So why is Trump doing this? Is it really about pressuring China? Or is this part of a bigger strategy, one that's more about controlling the economy, reducing America's $36 trillion debt, or even manipulating the markets? Let's break it down. Last month, Trump's trade war got a fresh reboot. He quadrupled tariffs on Chinese imports, targeting everything from cars to electronics. He also imposed 25% tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico. So what happens when the pause ends? Goods shipped from Canada to the US, like auto parts, lumber, steel, pharmaceuticals, wheat, pork, beef, and minerals, will cost American importers 25% more, and American consumers will ultimately pay for the increase through higher prices. So, for example, Ford produces the Edge at its plant in Oakville, Ontario, Canada. With the new 25% tariff, an Edge that previously cost around $37,945 could jump by almost $905,000, pushing the price to about $47,431. So what's the deal? What's the logic behind making things more expensive for Americans on purpose? As of April 2025, the US national debt has soared to $36.22 trillion. That's 124% of the nation's GDP. The 2025 budget deficit is expected to hit $1.9 trillion. To service this debt, the government is expected to spend $582 billion on interest payments alone in 2025, which constitutes 16% of total federal spending. With numbers this high, it raises a serious question. Are tariffs just a short-term revenue play to plug budget holes, or are they part of a long-term shift toward economic nationalism? Yes, increasing tariffs could, in the long term, push for manufacturing locally, which could create jobs and reduce dependency on global supply chains. But let's be honest, a full manufacturing revamp of the country is unrealistic. So maybe this isn't just about that. Actually, Trump's message on Truth Social summed it up perfectly. If companies move to the US, there are no tariffs.
If you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America.
And companies are actually listening. Honda just announced they're shifting the production of their next-gen Civic Hybrid from Mexico to Indiana to avoid getting hit with those new tariffs. They're even sourcing batteries from Toyota's US plant now, playing it safe to keep costs down. So maybe this isn't just about jobs or trade at all. Maybe it's about controlling the market. Trump posted this on Truth Social. Is this leadership or market manipulation? Is he doing insider trading? Either way, this isn't just about economics anymore. It's about power, timing, and control. The thing is, Canada and Mexico are way more dependent on the US than the other way around. When you check out the WUJI statistics tab, you'll see trade data straight from the World Trade Organization, and if you filter for US and Canada, it's easy to spot who holds more leverage. The numbers show Canada sends way more to the US than it brings in, a clear trade deficit on their end. Canada sends 76% of its exports to the US, and that alone makes up nearly 18% of its GDP. Mexico is even more tied in. 76% of its exports go to the US, accounting for about 30% of its economy. Now flip the script, only 17% of American exports go to Canada and 16% to Mexico. Combined, that's just around 2% of the US GDP. And when it comes to China, the US exports only about 7% of its goods to China, making up less than 1% of its economy. But for China, the US is a key market. Over 15% of Chinese exports head to America. So when it comes to who needs who more, things get interesting. That imbalance might be exactly why China is going all in with retaliation.
Facing tensions between the United States and China, China's Commerce Ministry announced that it has added 4 American companies to its so-called unreliable entity list. These companies are accused of being involved in arms sales to Taiwan, which is a region that China considers part of its own territory and stakes claim on it. The blacklisted companies, including Pacific Rim Defense and Summit Technologies, now face serious penalties.
Raising tariffs to 84%, dragging the US to the WTO, and blacklisting American companies. For Trump, tariffs aren't just about economics. They're a political tool, a symbol, a way to reassert American power. In a market this unpredictable, you need more than instincts. You need data. That's exactly why we built Vujis. Vujis lets you analyze millions of trade records from 195 countries worldwide. You can find buyers and suppliers, track goods, see quantities, prices, all in real time. You'll also get AI-powered summaries, strategy suggestions, and deep insights to help you stay ahead. So instead of panicking during a tariff crisis, be chill, you got solid data on your side. So if that sounds like what you need, click the link in the description and try Vujis for free right now. And hey, if you like this video and want more breakdowns like this, hit subscribe, give us a like, and follow us on all socials.